Michelle went missing or has been missing since August 2nd of 1994 from Bismarck, North Dakota. She's a white female. She was 26 years old when she went missing. She'll be 56 years old as of 2024. When she went missing, she was 5'6", 155 pounds. She was last seen wearing a dark colored shirt and blue jeans. She has brown hair and blue eyes. She had a Norplant birth control device inserted at the time of her disappearance. She has a small tattoo on her left shoulder of a heart with a drop of blood. Her nickname is Shelly, and some accounts spell her first name, I believe, with two L's, Michelle with two L's instead of one. And it says she may dye her hair blonde or auburn. So Michelle was last seen when she dropped her 3-year-old son off at the child's his paternal grandfather's residence in the 100 block of American Avenue in Bismarck, North Dakota. This was around 12:30 p.m. on August 2nd, 1994. She said she was going to go get gas, run errands, pick up her paycheck, and possibly go play bingo for a little while. She promised to return in a few hours, but she never made it to pick up her paycheck. Her son's grandfather stated that she would usually call if she was going to be late picking up her son. He became concerned sometime after 4 p.m. that day when she still hadn't come back or called. He kept trying to call her residence until midnight. He never got an answer. She's never been seen or heard from again. She was reportedly seen by a friend at something called We Fest, which is an outdoor country music festival that was in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota on August 5th. So that would have been 3 days after she was last seen. She was allegedly in the company of a man named Tom, who drove a black 4x4 Chevrolet, I'm assuming pickup truck. Police closed her missing persons file as a result of that sighting, even though I don't think it was ever actually confirmed that it was her. But then they did end up reopening it after she did not get in touch with her family. Now, I don't know how long it was from after they closed it until they finally reopened it. It doesn't say. And now investigators do not believe that she was ever at this country music festival to begin with. At the time she disappeared, she lived in a trailer in the 700 block of West Sweet Avenue in Bismarck. When police went to the residence, the front door was locked, the back windows were open, and the television was on. It says that she had been working as a blackjack dealer at the Burnt Creek Club. She was dating a bartender there. She had told her loved ones that some of the patrons of the bar where she worked at were harassing her. And more than once, she thought that someone had followed her home from work and her car had been vandalized. So because of that, she had requested a work transfer to a different location to just completely get away from that bar, that area, and away from the people that were bothering her, away from this potential stalker type situation. And it says one of the people who was allegedly harassing her was Donald Schaefer, and that small picture on the slide is a picture of Donald Schaefer. And he apparently was a lieutenant with the Bismarck Police Department. So in 1996, he was fired from the police department after he was arrested for felony terrorizing and misdemeanor assault in connection with the July 12th incident with his ex-girlfriend. So guess who's going to be person of interest, suspect number one on the list? So in an application for a restraining order, this woman, his ex-girlfriend, claimed that he had thrown her down the stairs twice, punched her in the face. Oh, sorry, I should have put up my banner. A trigger warning banner. I always forget to put up my banner. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So she said he had, alleged that he threw her down the stairs twice, punched her in the face, threatened her life, and supposedly some of these threats were made in the presence of other or of deputy sheriffs, so other law enforcement officials. Schaefer was never questioned or investigated about the this alleged harassment of Michele or about her disappearance. Her light blue 1987 Ford Thunderbird with a North Dakota license plate was found at a Bismarck Comfort Inn 6 days after her disappearance. Authorities stated they cannot be certain, but they do not believe it was there on August 2nd, which is, once again, the last day that she was seen. Lost my place. It was, now, okay, so they found the car, and it was turned over to her family without being processed. I know Arctic's going to have a lot to say about this if he's, unless he's still just lurking. It's unbelievable. It says the inside of the car appeared to be clean, except for a half-eaten sandwich that's left on the front seat. Michele's father later told police that he found some, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, scoria rock, Scoria is how you spell it. Scoria rock near the vehicle's intake manifold, and it says there is little, if any, scoria rock in the Bismarck area. So Michele is described as a dedicated mother. She was close to her family. She would not have abandoned her son. She is a graduate of Center High School. She moved to Bismarck about a year after she graduated. She held several jobs before taking the position at the casino. It said that, as far as anyone knew, she had no plans to leave the Bismarck area. Investigators do not believe she left of her own free will. Foul play is suspected in her case, obviously, with just this little bit of information that the Charley Project has. So if you have any information about Michele's case, you can call the Bismarck Police Department at 701-223-1212. And I believe I was able to find a couple of short articles with just some, I think one was some statements from her son and maybe from her father or one of the detectives working. So this is from South News Tribune. It is from 2022, August 2022. Bill Connor is now retired, but the former detective at the Bismarck Police Department has plenty to say about the Shelley or Michele Julson case. For 5 years, he reinvestigated the case, the cold case, interviewing many of the people in the 26-year-old woman's life when she disappeared in 1994, and it says, and debunking a big mistake. So this actually is kind of a summary or remarks from a podcast that was done. It says in the newly released episode of the Dakota Spotlight podcast, Connor speaks frankly about the details of the case, still sharp in his memory, and his encounters with those connected to Michele Julson as he investigated the case from 2005 to 2010. Previous police work had relied on a single witness who claimed to have seen Michele after she disappeared. I'm assuming that it is at this country music concert. Connor did track down that claim, and apparently maybe that's how that got debunked. Connor also checked out a man named Rick Snell. It says he was a man with a troubled relationship history and a unique connection to the Burnt Creek Club and the Elbow Room, which is two places where he might have met Michele. He also looked more into the alibi for Kevin Woodworth, who is Michele's former boyfriend and the father of her son, Jaden. He also tracked down and spoke with a man named Tony, who had some kind of a connection to Michele, and it says he mysteriously left Bismarck shortly after she disappeared. He also, O'Connor's reinvestigation provided new details about the people in Michelle's orbit, but it also indicated there was more to learn about several of those connected to her. So I think that was all. So he, like I said, he worked on it from 2005 to 2010, debunked some stuff, re-interviewed people, found some potential new persons of interest. And I believe I have one other, which is some remarks from her son. Once again, it's from the same source. Just kind of a little recap from this Dakota Spotlight podcast. And this is from September of 2022. And this is her son, Jaden. Jaden Woodworth was only 3.5 years old when his mother, Michele Julson, dropped him off at his paternal grandparents' home in 1994. She said she was going to run errands. She never returned. In recent years, now this is what I find interesting about what he had to say. In recent years, law enforcement had told him that his father reported his mother missing prematurely and suspiciously, which is a claim that has now supposedly been debunked by this Dakota Spotlight podcast. So, sorry, everything keeps jumping on me. Ads keep popping up. So in this episode of this podcast, it said that Jaden opened up about his life in a candid and heartfelt interview. It says, without a mother, the trajectory of Jaden's life has not been without speed bumps and detours. It talks about his fuzzy memories of his mother, Michele. He shares his thoughts on his grandparents and his father, Kevin. Kevin Woodworth helped report Michele missing more than a day after she was last seen, but the timing of when that call was made became a sticking point later for Bismarck police investigators. And when Kevin was re-interviewed about the case in September of 2019, investigators inaccurately claimed that he had reported Michele missing just a few hours after she was expected to return, which at the time they said they found suspicious. Apparently that is incorrect. This podcast got access to police files in the case, and they found out that it was at least a day after she disappeared is when he reported her missing. So when Kevin Woodworth protested and attempted to correct police on the timeline in that 2019 interview, it says he was interrupted, dismissed by investigators. He then ended the interview in frustration. Police also separately told Jaden, who was the son, this incorrect information and their suspicions about his father. Jaden said, it made me look at my dad a lot differently for the time being. It made me feel pretty empty at the time. It was kind of a wild moment. It broke my heart in a way. And in this interview he did, it says he described about how that incorrect information or claim affected his relationship with his father. I mean, can you imagine if you're so young or in 2019 when they did the interview, and all this time he'd been told that his father was under suspicion because he reported his mother missing just hours after she disappeared, and then to find out this information was incorrect, apparently. It would definitely have an effect on an effect on the relationship. So that was just a little bit. I just feel so bad for obviously everybody involved, but for Jaden, for the son, especially with the suspicion that was cast on the father with this incorrect information.